Top 10 Most Protected African Presidents. From the time of emperors and kings to monarchs and presidents ruling their citizens, their protection has always been a major priority. There is always a conscious effort to protect these leaders from any security threats so that they can continue leading the people well. Plus, if anything was to happen to them, it can potentially cause chaos in that country, like what we saw in Afghanistan in 2021. In modern-day Africa and all over the world, presidents are given the maximum protection to ensure that they are in great shape to carry out their duties. In some countries, they have more resources and status, they spend more, and sometimes it's the president themselves that go the extra mile to spend more on their protection, usually due to security circumstances and instability in the country. This video will show you the top 10 most protected African presidents. Number 1 literally closes down roads for miles when they pass through. Number 10, MAMADOU Doumbouya from Guinea. MAMADOU Doumbouya led a coup d'etat on 5th of September 2021 that overthrew the previous president, Alpha Condé. He is a member of the Guinean Special Forces Group and a former French legionnaire. On the day of the coup, Doumbouya issued a broadcast on state television declaring that his faction had dissolved the government and constitution. On 1st of October 2021, Doumbouya was sworn in as interim president. As the president of Guinea, and owing to his experience as a military officer, he understands a thing or two about security. When he decides to travel by land, he travels not in luxurious kinds of cars. He travels in Humvees by land and choppers by air. Doumbouya shrouds himself in countless bodyguards, and though his security entourage may not be so elegant as others on this list, his soldiers are always on high alert battle-wise, and most of them are special forces, just like him. You have to be made of steel to consider making an attempt on his life. Number 9, UHURU KENYATTA from Kenya. UHURU KENYATTA is the former president of Kenya who was elected to office in 2013. From 2002 to 2013, UHURU was the Member of Parliament for Gatundu South. From 2008 to 2013, he was also the Deputy Prime Minister and later became the President of Kenya that same year. His escort was a multi-agency team made up of personnel from different security arms, including the National Intelligence Service, Directorate of Criminal Investigations, General Service Unit, RECCE Company, and the Presidential Escort. Kenyatta rode in an armoured Land Cruiser, 10 high-speed motorcycles, 7 high-speed Toyota SUVs, a Mercedes-Benz X-Class, and a bunch of Range Rovers. His entourage of bodyguards consisted of more than 10 heavy personnel whenever he travels out. To find out more about UHURU Kenyatta's car collection, watch this video, titled Top 10 Sleekest Rides of African Presidents. Number 8, Paul Biya, Cameroon. Paul Biya is the elected president of Cameroon since November 6, 1982. He is Africa's second longest serving president, the continent's oldest head of state, and the world's longest serving non-royal leader. He's been ruling the country for over 40 years. He rides in an armoured Range Rover Sentinel, which costs $500,000. On special occasions, he rides in an armoured limousine. Paul Biya's motorcade is one of the toughest in Africa. His convoy includes high-speed Land Cruisers and Mercedes-Benz, and he's specially guarded by a great company of special bodyguards. Several other times, he's accompanied by an entourage of bodyguards on horses. For him to rule a country for 40 years tells how protected he is. Number 7, Paul KAGAME, Rwanda. Paul KAGAME is a Rwandan politician and former military officer. He is the 4th and current president of Rwanda, having taken office in 2000. KAGAME previously commanded the Rwandan Patriotic Front, a Uganda-based rebel force that invaded Rwanda in 1990 and was one of the parties of the conflict during the Rwandan Civil War and the armed force which ended the Rwandan genocide. Generally, he is one of the few respected presidents in Africa, although he's been serving as the leader of Rwanda for over 22 years. KAGAME is widely acknowledged by his countrymen as a leader. Paul is also one of the few outspoken African presidents, due to his contribution to controversial matters. As a result, had to level his security details, making him of the most protected African presidents. KAGAME rides in armoured Range Rover Sentinels, which cost $500,000. This SUV's features make it impossible to have a direct hit on his car. Paul KAGAME's motorcade consists of several security motorcycles, high-speed Mercedes-Benz, Land Cruisers, and many bodyguards flanking round him. Number 6. Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Abdel Fattah el-Sisi is a retired Egyptian military officer and politician who served as Egypt's 6th and current president since 2014. The President of Egypt is one of the most protected African presidents. He actually rules the country himself and leaves no room for errors when it comes to his security. Also, his presidential car is a Mercedes S-Class with a special black number plate. With the fact that his country has one of the best armed forces on the continent is enough to guarantee him a spot on this list, and harder to kill. When in public, Abdel Fattah is accompanied by more than 10 specially trained bodyguards. His motorcade consists of several security motorcycles, high-speed armoured Mercedes-Benz, land cruisers, and many special forces personnel. Number 5. Cyril Ramaphosa, South Africa. Cyril Ramaphosa, South African businessman and politician who, since 2018, has served as the 5th democratically elected president of South Africa, as well as president of the African National Congress since 2017. He has a specialized unit that protects him. They are ironically called the VIP unit. The VIP protection unit is an arm of the South African Police Service responsible for the static and in-transit protection of the president, deputy president, former presidents and deputy presidents, cabinet ministers, MECs and foreign dignitaries. And you don't want to cross their path, as they have no issue shooting first and asking questions later. Unlike other presidents, Ramaphosa prefers crossovers to sit down or SUVs. He uses custom-made BMW with special display riders and heavy motorcades. Number 4. Emmerson Mnangagwa. Emmerson Mnangagwa is a Zimbabwean revolutionary and politician who's been the country's president since November 24, 2017. He was a ZANU-PF member and longtime ally of former President Robert Mugabe, holding a number of cabinet portfolios and serving as Mugabe's vice president until November 2017, when he was dismissed before taking power in a coup. In the contentious 2018 general election, he won his first full term as president. Because of the unrest in the political scene of Zimbabwe, the need for the president to be heavily guarded is a top priority. Heavy security surrounds the president, especially when he's on official duties in or outside the country. Also, security personnel includes high-speed motorcycles, armoured Mercedes-Benz, land cruisers, and many special forces personnel. The president himself rides in an armoured limousine, accompanied by many armed bodyguards. The Presidential Guard of the Zimbabwe National Army, an elite unit, is responsible for protecting the president of Zimbabwe. How effective are they? Well, let's just say without them, Robert Mugabe, the previous president, wouldn't have ruled for 30 years. Number 3. Alassane Ouattara, Ivory Coast. Since 2010, he has served as president of the Ivory Coast, or Côte d'Ivoire. Ouattara is always accompanied by heavy security guards whenever he goes in or out of the country. Ouattara's car is heavily supported by heavily armoured personnel and presidential guards who follow his vehicle on foot until he gets out of reach of the public. The Ivorian Republican Guard, an independent military formation, is responsible for the protection of government officials and buildings. It's one of the most well-equipped units in the armed forces of the Republic of Ivory Coast. Number 2. Mohammed VI of Morocco. Mohammed, Morocco's king, is a member of the Alawi dynasty and ascended to the throne on 23rd of July 1999, following the death of his father, King Hassan II. He has extensive business holdings in several Moroccan economic sectors. His net worth has been estimated to be between $2.1 billion and over $8.2 billion, and is the richest king in Africa and the 5th wealthiest monarch in the world, according to the American business magazine Forbes. Mohammed's presidential ride is an armoured Mercedes-Benz and several Range Rovers. He also uses an armoured BMW and communication Humvees when he goes off and on the road. And he's always accompanied by units of the Royal Guard whenever he's on Moroccan soil. They are one of the highest trained units in Morocco, so you don't want to mess with them. Number 1. MOHAMMEDU Buhari, Nigeria. MOHAMMEDU Buhari is a Nigerian politician who's been the country's president since 2015. As the president of one of the most populous African nations, his safety is the country's topmost priority. His convoy consists of many motorcades, which are the largest and most impressive on the continent. President Buhari is almost impossible to penetrate. The security comprises of high-speed security motorcade, and a special security guard. Roads are blocked for miles to prevent any threats which cause gridlock that spans miles. His motorcade has been a subject of controversy, as the nation is amongst the top 5 poverty centres in the world, and yet he has the most expensive convoy in Africa, which says a lot. Would you be protected like this if you were the president of your country? Let us know in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Till next time.